Hi everybody, it's Chantal from the Divorce Hub. Today we'll be talking to an attorney who specializes a lot in narcissism and children. And I'm really excited to have her on. I've been following her for ages, and she's been following me likewise for ages as well. And she is going to give us 3 to 5 tips on how to beat a narcissist in court. Pretty key stuff. I know many of you out there are dealing with this, have dealt with this, will be dealing with this. So I'm really excited to have her legal expertise. Really hard time scrolling down, looking at comments, waving, and trying to think articulately. So forgive me. And here she is in 3, 2, 1. There she is.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Oops, this fell.
You were there, and then we saw a beautiful snapshot of your ceiling. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, here's the thing is I've been following you for a long time. And I love what you do. I love your stance. I love your expertise. I love everything about you. Kind of have a girl crush. And I think that a lot of people could just, really use some legal knowledge without actually, having to talk to you specifically. They hopefully can get what they need here and then connect with you if they need more. So that's my goal today.
So I'll just open up by just saying a couple of things about our law firm. I mean, we're located in Los Angeles and Orange County, California. I know you're very far from us.
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Yes. So we do a lot of high net worth, high conflict, basically divorces and paternities. And so I don't know if your audience knows paternities is when parents are not married, but they have issues with co-parenting and parallel parenting, and it's just all high conflict. So it really lends well to what you do, which is, you sort of handhold the client and you do a lot of like the dirty work.
Yeah, I do the behind the scenes stuff, right? That is my job, is so that my clients get to you and they're prepped and they're knowledgeable and they know exactly how to be articulate and how to get their message across to you so that then you can strategize to the best of your ability to advocate for them in court.
Right.
And mediation.
And really what I mean about that is like, you guys help with how to write an email or how to even discuss topics with your attorney. So we can't do the hand holding, right? Because we charge, here we charge like $550 to $650 an hour. And so it doesn't make sense for most clients to spend that kind of money. And so they come to you and you do all of that behind the scenes work, and you kind of look maybe at emails and say, you don't want to respond to this way necessarily, or don't respond at all. We love divorce coaches at our firm, and we actually refer out our clients to divorce coaches. So this is a great synergy that we have. And I know today we wanted to talk to the audience about 3 to 5 ways to beat a narcissist in court, because really that's where our greatest strength lies, and so does yours, correct?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, this is what people want. Not that every single victim that I work with, they would happily co-parent, they would happily, be harmonious, they would settle ASAP. But as you know, working with the kind of people that we work with, a narcissist does not enjoy that. A narcissist will counter everything, will counter parent, will counter any kind of mediation, court. They love to win. And that's why it's so important to know, right? Like a huge part of my job is also referring clients to the proper attorneys. Because if you hire the wrong one from the get-go, guess what? That is wasted time and wasted money, and big mistakes can be made that then can't be repaired.
Correct. So I just wanted to answer one question really quick. Debbie said, what if I'm the narcissist? Well, if you're here, you're not the narcissist.
Yeah. Okay? If you're even asking the question.
never self-reflect. And what true narcissists do is they turn it around on you and they start calling you the narcissist.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you're here right now and listening to this, you're not the narcissist, because narcissists never want help because they're not the problem, right? So the first thing I wanted to mention, which lends really well to what you just said, is you have to choose a lawyer that has a psychology background, because like you said, if you get the wrong attorney from the get-go, you're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort in mediation and trying to resolve a case, and you don't know, hey, the other person is a narcissist or has other cluster B personality disorders.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is you have to choose a lawyer that has a psychology background, okay, and understands NPD. Now, some attorneys, they have political science backgrounds, right? And so they're not going to be able to help you understand all the nuances that are going on in the case. They're going to be as frustrated as you are, going, I don't know why opposing counsel sending 10
because a narcissist is irrational, right? And so many people, so many attorneys themselves say they understand, but they don't understand, because truly it's unfathomable. This type of personality, just, they will like chop off their nose to spite their face just because.
100%. And so that's the first thing. And that can be a little self-serving because, people go, oh, well, you're a lawyer, you have a psychology background. But no, this is how we help our clients, right? So if you came to me with a criminal case, that's not what I would do, right? And a lot of our clients come to us with, bankruptcy cases, this and that. And it's like, let me refer you to someone that knows what they're doing. That's not our expertise. So definitely choose a lawyer with a psychology background. If you have a lawyer right now that doesn't have one, it's time to switch attorneys, okay? Because you're going to spend a lot of time trying to explain to them. And so I know sometimes people go, well, this is great because you have a psychology background. It is, but then I have to deal with all the narcissists or narcissistic attorneys.
Well, that is the thing, right? Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of times I'll tell my clients, like, while you're fighting your narcissist, ex-spouse, I'm fighting their narcissistic, attorney. That's like, just sort of just goes along with everything the narcissist says and actually enables the narcissist in court. And so that's how the case gets really weaponized, right? It's in two different ways. The second thing I would say, and I know you talk about this a lot, but document everything. It's so vitally important to document everything, especially in a narcissistic divorce, high conflict, because that the narcissist is going to lie and twist things, right? They're very good at manipulating and gaslighting and, changing the truth to make themselves a victim. And so you want to document everything. And here's an example. Get on a parenting app. I don't know if you have that where you are, but
oh yeah.
In California, we do our Family Wizard. We do, many different
Talking Parents, all those. Yeah.
Talking Parents is a great one. I know Talking Parents follows the firm now on IG. I'm like, really? But definitely get on a parenting app, because what that does, the judge can get on the parenting app, and a lot of these parenting apps have that, and you can give access not only to your own attorney but also the judge. Mm-hmm. And so the judge can go and look at the dialogue instead of doing text messages, which you'd have to like screenshot them. That becomes really messy.
Very difficult.
Yeah, and this is really good because you can see when they look at the message, how they responded, what did they respond to. So that's a great tool, is to document everything through a parenting app. Would you have anything to say about that?
I am a huge fan of documentation, as you know. I'm a huge fan of parenting apps because it lends a modicum of accountability. Now, the really covert ones are still really good at coming across as really caring in their, and if they're good at communicating via email, they fly under the radar. But at least it gives you something else to stand on, right? Something else that you can document things in. And I always tell my clients, if you will not feel comfortable reading your communication out loud in front of a judge, do not press send. Send it to me, send it to a friend, journal it, but do not send it, right? You need to ensure that you come across as the rational, reasonable, willing to compromise and negotiate person in what they see as a two-party conflict, right? So it's really important that you also maintain a really level-headed, responsive, not reactive approach to communication with your ex, because they know how to trigger you, right? They know exactly what to say to get you to fly off the handle. When you've been calm for like 100 days, they'll say the right thing at the wrong time, and the next thing you know, you come off as very reactive and aggressive and part of the conflict, right? So yeah,
Right.
apps are important.
And also along the same lines, not just the parenting app, but take pictures. I mean,
Mhm.
if you know that they're going to say something about domestic violence or some abuse on the child, take pictures. I mean, I had one dad that do take pictures when he first got the children, and then when he returned them, and then mom still would report him to child protection and say, oh, she's got a bruise and stuff. And no, I took a picture of everything that I could take a picture of and actually videotape. Like he would go to the movie one time, videotapes. Like we're at the movie, like oh, but you have to do that. But these are the examples. Like take videotapes, getting on a parenting app. All that. Document when they pick up the child, when they drop off the child. Keep all of that because
Everything.
it's really cool.
Yeah, and you don't go to court every single occurrence, but you create enough of a pattern of behavior that you're then able to present without saying the word narcissist in court, because most judges will shoot you down as soon as you say those words, but you show in your documentation that there is a pattern of behavior, and you hopefully are so good at it, and your attorney is so good at it, and your coach behind the scene is so good at it, that they're able to pick up your breadcrumbs that's leading them to say, hey, this person is abusive. What you're experiencing is abuse. And if they're really educated, then possibly they might say, this person sounds like they're on the spectrum, like they might be narcissistic. You don't hold out for that. That's just for us. That's our label. But it's not unlike a label that you bring into court, as you know.
Yes, actually, I have a case tomorrow, a domestic violence case. It's a big case out in Orange County, and my client wrote gaslit. She was gaslighting me in one of the correspondence. I'm like, when you're on the stand tomorrow, please don't use the word gaslight, projecting, mirroring, like stuff that you and I talk about. Like, please don't say that on the stand, because it just will look at you like, you don't have a psychology degree, so you can't. To that. So then the third one is, and this is really important, and I'm sure you discuss this with your clients, you have to stay stoic and silent, especially in court, and speak only when you are spoken to. And the judge will ask you direct questions, your attorney might ask you a question, but it's vitally important, because what the narcissist will do, and they're very good at doing this, and we've been doing this for 20. So what they will do is they will come to court, and it's exactly what you said earlier. They'll be so wonderful. They'll have the perfect outfit on. They will have their little carrying case. They'll be so concerned. They'll be stoic, even though you're going to walk out of there and they're going to call you 50 names, right? But they're going to be very stoic and silent. And they're going to look like, oh my gosh, look how wonderful. And you're like, you're excited, right? This is like your first time.
And you're emotional too, right? Like, especially when it's dealing with your children, you're emotional, you're reactive, you're like really easily triggered.
Yes. And you're just waiting. You're like, when do I get the chance to say my piece? And it's like, you might not get the chance that day, Judge might just say, you know what, I'm going to continue it. And if you show reaction, the judge is going to recognize that, right? And you just have to be very stoic, as possible. I tell clients, like, if you've ever seen judges or met judges, like most of my friends are judges. And so they're very, very stoic by nature, right? Because you don't want a judge that's like highly emotional, right? Nobody wants that. And so very stoic. They're, they're very respectful, and if you have what we said earlier, which is you chose the right attorney that has a psychology background, you're going to trust your attorney. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to know that if your attorney's not bringing it up, it's not the right time. So that's really important.
Very important.
And I think number 4 is get involved with your case. Okay, we're talking about strategies of how you can win in court by a narcissist. So make sure that you get involved in your case with your lawyer, with your coach, with your therapist. You're you're kind of working with all these professionals for the best outcome. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because your lawyer is not going to be able to emotionally fulfill you, right?
No.
And you will go, we always suggest get a therapist, work with a divorce coach, and that, make sure you get involved. This is not a time where you're going to sit in the sidelines and just trust your attorney. Okay, you have to get involved in your case. It's vitally important.
And it's also really empowering. I mean, as counterintuitive as that feels, a lot of people, it's their first time hiring a lawyer. It's their first time dealing with the court system. It's all very scary for so many people. But when you're scared of something and you face it and you're involved in that thing, it no longer has the same power over you, right? And it becomes something that you're less afraid of. And when you tackle those fears, just like anything in life, you actually come out feeling, oh, I could do that. I could do hard things and I didn't die, right? I'm still here and I've learned a lot too. So not only is it really important for your strategy to be part of the strategy and part of the process, but it's also incredibly empowering, especially after you've been so disempowered for so long via your partner.
Yes, I think that's a great analogy, and we love it when our clients get involved. And the first thing that we usually do is give them books, because it depends. Like sometimes they come in and they already know narcissism, and they've kind of like been following people like yourself, and so they're like, I know there's something wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's good, because that's like, okay, that's good. Now let me give you a book to read. But when they don't know and they walk in the door, you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be,
Yes.
you're going to go through this, like through a rabbit, hole.
Oh my God, it's the worst. And so many people don't understand. Like they know that they're not happy. They're like, they know their partner isn't good for them. It's not a happy relationship, but there's oftentimes that delayed realization, like years. You're like, hey, wait a second. That person that I thought was this person is actually totally different. I think they might be a narcissist. So education is key. Knowledge is power. I always say that knowledge is power. So it's wonderful that you empower your own clients to educate themselves.
Yes. So I think, first thing we do is give them a book. They usually go through that book, fairly quickly. And then and then we say there's a whole community out here now that talks about narcissism and other cluster B personality disorders, like, antisocial or, bipolar. When I first started practice over 20 years ago, there wasn't things like this, right? There
No,
was
yeah.
Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff. So we didn't, it wasn't something that we even discussed with clients. It was like, okay, this person's toxic, they're abusive, and you get out.
Yeah.
And all the court filings and the paperwork and all that stuff, I never told clients, even though I had a psychology background. It's not something that we talked about. It was
Mm-hmm.
just, you got to settle quickly because it's going to get worse.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
And we know that narcissists, as they age, they get worse. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
an 18-year period. I don't know if child support is till 18 where you're at,
Yeah.
but it is in California. In New York, it's till 2 if they're in college. It's an extra 4 years in New York. So you're going to be dealing with this narcissist, and you're going to see the range, right? If you think they're bad now, they're going to get worse as they age.
And it's so true. They become not only more skilled and more adept at their manipulation, but an aging narcissist, they hate aging. They hate everything about it, right? Because they burn more bridges than a pyro. If they're good looking, they typically don't age very well, right? They lose all the things that rendered them attractive to other people. And they get really bitter and really nasty. So you really need to pay heed to that.
Yes. And that's why you need to set up the boundaries very clearly early on with your attorney and how you're going to conduct yourself, because as they age, the narcissist is going to get worse. But the good news, and here's a bit of good news, divorce attorney, your child is getting older. So
Mm-hmm.
as older, you can go through your child for some things, not adult things, but for
Mm-hmm.
some things you can go through your child, right? So
Yep.
have to go through the narcissist. So make sure that you're keeping the healthy boundaries, set them early on. And I guess the fifth one would just be, this is a long haul, okay? And we understand that it can get very, very expensive. I mean, our longest case is like 9 years, okay? So these narcissists do not give up, okay?
Yep.
So you're in it for the long haul. And there's things, if you have a really good attorney, there's things that you can work on. Like you can ask your attorney, can I work on this? Is this something that I can do so I'm not paying, these exorbitant attorney's fees? And good attorneys will say, yeah, sure, maybe you can do, like I'm having my client do all the transcripts of all the videos that he took for the domestic violence hearing tomorrow, which that would take hours for our.
Yep. And cost thousands and thousands of
And
dollars.
so, yeah, if you want to relive that, unfortunately, and look at the
Yeah.
videos, transcribe them, and he did such a great job. But so you're in it for the long haul. A lot of times, I will be very honest with you, clients get tired. They're just
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't emotionally afford this anymore. I can't financially afford this, and they'll leave. They'll
Mm-hmm.
leave a good attorney, and they'll say, I just can't, because we will make you feel all the feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will make you do the work, like read the books, read this, read that. Whereas other attorneys, you don't know what they're doing, but
Yep.
all you at the end of the month is like a bill, and you're like, what did this cost me?
And that's what people don't get, right? Attorneys, it's every attorney charges for everything, right? So this is why what you just said there was so important. And that's also why it's so important to pick the right attorney. Because even if you have to switch courses partway through and hire a new attorney, and I've seen this so many times, you then have to get that new attorney up to speed, which means that they actually are charging you to get up to speed on what's happened, what's transpired. And
Yes.
then they have to also communicate with your ex's attorney. All that costs money, right? So this is why being really strategic in how you exit, hiring the right experts before you even leave, if you can. Some people are discarded and you don't have that option. But
Yes.
if you do have the option, really educate yourself. Go into this with your eyes wide open and hire the right people from the get-go. It will save you, even though like you're expensive, but you know what? With the right attorney, you can save so much money because they know how to deal with this personality from the get-go. They're not just going to pay lip service and say, absolutely, I know how to deal with this, and then be completely bamboozled. A person with your knowledge, especially with your expertise and your background, can really, truly, effectively help people. And it obviously costs money. We're not free. But the alternative is that it's dragged out, that it costs even more money, that you're having to hire and fire lawyers, and you still don't get to what you want to get to, which is divorced and being able to live a life despite what they do in the background. They're always, your ink can be dry on your divorce papers, and they'll
Yes.
still, but it's how you learn to communicate with them, right? To avoid the circular conversations, how you create and enforce boundaries, right? Around your time, your home, your energy, how you utilize the professionals that you still may have to employ even after you're divorced, especially if your ex is vexatious and they like to go play in court, right? That's a lot of them every year, like clockwork, you're going to be going to court. You just don't know why.
Yes. No, we see that a lot. And actually, the truth of the matter is, once your divorce is finalized, a lot of narcissists will actually turn up the volume of
Oh,
abuse.
oh
And
yes.
they, take you back to court or make it very difficult for the kids. And
Mm-hmm.
because now they know the system, right? They've been in court. So they're like, okay, well, now I manipulate that way. So it doesn't end. Once the ink is dry, it doesn't end. But the good news is, once your child ages out, right, and when you don't have to be in actual court with them, and you don't need an attorney, at least you can work with, a divorce coach such as yourself for after, if something comes up. But it does get better as the children age.
And as Tina says right here, she had to fire 2 lawyers and she hired a good one finally. And this is the thing, right, Tina? Was it free? Was it free having to hire 2 lawyers and then fire them and then hire a 3rd lawyer? Like, that did not, like, it wasn't cheap. I can guarantee, right? Cost you time and it cost you money. I'm so glad you found a great lawyer, by the way.
Yes, I'm glad you found one too. And it's still, she says, but I still didn't get the results I wanted. So, Tina, sometimes the result is just being divorced from the person.
Yeah.
She says 35,000. Sometimes the result is like, you're not going to emotionally get the result you want in court. Court is not for your emotions. That's where you're going to get your therapy. You're going to heal and move on. Okay. I tell my clients all the time when they come in, I'm like, you're going to heal and move on and find someone better. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, there is hope for you.
But here's the thing, is there's so much hope. We have the possibility of moving on, of healing, of growing, of thriving. A narcissist may even win in court. They may win, but they're losing at life. Like, they're giant losers with a capital L. And I'm not trying to be, rude, but they truly are, because they're never happy. They're never satisfied. They, for sport, hurt other people. How terribly unhappy and miserable must you be to actively seek to hurt the people closest to you in order to feel alive? I would much rather be the victim having to heal than the person who wins in court and seems to have all the trappings of success, but be miserable my entire life. Full stop.
And the thing is, too, I was going to mention exactly that. The thing is, too, that you will move on and you will find someone because you have all this knowledge. Right now, you're an expert at narcissists and you never wanted to. Right? You're going to move on and you're going to choose better next time. And I've seen this, believe me, clients have come back and they've said, you know what, this was like the worst thing of my life, but the best thing because now I'm remarried and extremely happy. And you can see the red flags earlier. Right?
Especially if you are able to, and not everyone's able to because everything does cost money, to really hire the right experts and really help guide you through the healing process, right? And Tina, you know what? They all hurt children. This is what they do. They truly don't care about the effects or the consequences of what they do on their children. They will use and abuse their children. Why? To hurt you. And I'm really, really sorry. That is the hardest part as a protective parent, is watching your child be used and abused and manipulated just to get back at you, truly.
And also, the last thing I want to say, we only have 30 minutes, so we'll have to do this again, is keep your child first, okay? Because what a narcissist wants you to do is get involved in their drama. That's why you're divorcing them. So don't get involved in their drama and keep your child's best interest at heart, okay? And always remember that when children grow up, we've seen this, okay? I've seen this for 20 years. They will know who the I don't want to say normal parent, but the protective parent was, the loving parent, the empathetic parent, and they'll know who the problem parent, narcissistic parent was. Okay.
And this is like a finite amount of time, right? Like, we always think, oh my gosh, like I've lost all my, all of this childhood. And we've been robbed of that. But the beauty is that if you do it right, if you have a strong bond with your child, you have the next 60 years to enjoy your child too, right? It's not over when they're 18.
Correct. And you know what? We've seen it. We've seen it so many times where we'll get clients that come back, or they'll write us a note, or they'll email us, or write us they'll say, you know what? We did the right thing. We took the high road because now our child knows that we took the high road, and now they can speak for themselves because they're adults, and you know who the narcissistic parent was. So like you said, it's 18 years seems like a long time, okay? And it is a long time, but you have to go to therapy. You have to work on yourself. You really should get a divorce coach, okay? Because that helps your case, that helps your lawyer. And, you know, that's why we love divorce coaches, because we're like, oh my gosh, it's just an added, level of protection for the client and their child, because you're
Absolutely.
them, the right way. So you're not a guessing game, right? You're
Mhm.
advising, and especially how to respond and when to respond and when not to respond. Because
Absolutely. It's a huge part, huge part.
no response is a response, and we love
Yeah.
that response.
Yeah. Well,
You,
thank you so
you know,
much for being here today. And thank you so much for imparting your knowledge. I know we have like a 30-minute window, and I'm really, cognizant of that, because 30 minutes, I mean, if we were paying you right now, that would be a lot of money, right? That'd be like $225. And you just gave us that gift for free. So thank you so very much for all of your insight, for doing what you do. I mean, it's taxing. I know, as a divorce coach, I really feel for my clients. I have like an open heart, right? And there's often times where I'm just like, it's not fair. It's not fair. These people are good people, and they've been dealt a really unfair hand. And that's why they really need to have support, professional support, familial, communal support. And so it's wonderful to have people like yourself who are in their corner legally, which is really, really important, because family law is not user friendly.
no, it's not. And I appreciate you and what you do as well. And so we'll do this again. If you guys want a part two, just let us know in the comments. We'll do a part two, okay? And everyone, happy holidays to everyone out there.
Yes, I know. Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.